I'm from South Africa, and when I told my mum that I had landed in Zambia yesterday for the very first time, she said, "Oh, wonderful, miss." She's 70, and she said that Zambians are very humble people. And she told me that Zambia helped South Africa through its difficult history, one of the most difficult times in its past. And I can say that in my interactions, brief interactions with some of the individuals at the hotel, I have not been shown anything outside of what she has presented regarding the humility of the Zambian people. So I'd like to thank you for your humility and thank you for your warm welcome. But I am hoping that as Zambians, you are also talkative people, because there's lots to discuss here. And I'm also mindful of the fact that we are joined by non-Zambians. Out of interest, how many people are or have traveled from outside the country to get here? Okay, so there's quite a few non-Zambians, but today we have got honorary Zambian citizenship by virtue of being in this room. And I hope that we will definitely get onto those discussions on what brings us here for this year, how to better strengthen the skills, how to better strengthen the resilience of the critical minerals sector, doing so in a manner that is sustainable and doing so in a manner that is responsible for the green and the digital transition. I'm not too sure if it was by design or by coincidence, but I did notice, and I'm sure many of you as well have noticed, that this forum is happening alongside the COP29 meetings over in Baku. One thing I do know is that the conversations that are happening there and the conversations that will be happening here are very much complementary to the global goal and the global agenda of increasing climate resiliency across the value chain. We are talking about skills. With those few words just shared, I'd like to ask you to join me in watching this brief introductory video that will help set the scene better of why we are here for today.
As the world shifts to a greener and more digital future, the demand for critical raw materials like lithium,
so maybe can we stop, because we've got the background music and the video again. Can we start it again? Can we start it again?
As the world shifts to a greener and more digital future, the demand for critical raw materials like lithium, cobalt, and rare earth elements is skyrocketing. These materials power our electric cars, renewable energy systems, and digital infrastructure. But behind these essential technologies lies a complex supply chain, one that faces numerous challenges. From responsible extraction to sustainable practices, we need to ensure companies and their workforce have the right skills to source and use these materials responsibly. Right now, there's a gap in the skills needed to support this supply chain. Without the right training, countries rich in these resources and companies on the supply chain may struggle to benefit fully from the green and digital transitions. This is where skills development comes in. At the LKDF Forum, we're focused on closing this gap by empowering workers with the skills they need by empowering companies and workers. Through partnerships with governments, industries, and educational institutions, we aim to build a workforce that can responsibly extract, process, and manage these critical raw materials. By investing in skills, we not only contribute to a more sustainable and responsible supply chain, but also create new economic opportunities, improve livelihoods, and support global sustainability goals. Together, we can shape a future where critical raw materials power a greener, fairer, and more connected world.
And so, as has been outlined in the video, ladies and gentlemen, there's a gap to fill. And the purpose of today is just to get your thoughts and understanding on exactly how big that gap is. But more importantly, I am aware that I am in the room of smart individuals who've got vested interests in the sector. And I look forward to hearing what you think can be done to better address the gap and to better fill it at a more rapid pace than is currently the case. And so on that note, we'll move on to our opening remarks. And we will be joined by individuals in this room as well as individuals virtually who will just build on the scene that has just been set around addressing the skills gap and how best to solve for it. So I'd like to invite the speakers and the stakeholders in the room to join me rather on stage, and I'll then introduce you to some of our speakers who are joining us virtually from parts of the world. So beginning with Ms. Beatrice M. Mutali, Resident Coordinator of the United Nations System in Zambia. Ms. Beatrice, ma'am, can you join me on stage, and can we welcome Ms. Beatrice with a warm applause? We'll also be joined by Mr. Fred Banda, Director of Minerals Safety for Development of Zambia. You can take your seat there, ma'am. Thank you. In the room also we have Ms. Precious Lisulo, the Director for Vocational Education Training, the Ministry of Technology and Science of Zambia. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. And as I said, we are also joined by virtual stakeholders, and we'll be hearing from them in just a short while. But perhaps to just introduce you to them, we'll be joined by Mr. Gerd Müller, who's the Director General for the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, or UNIDO, as well as Jakob, Granit, Director General for the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency. And so by way of introduction, Mr. Fred Banda, sir, if I could just ask you to lead in those introductory remarks. Sir, may you kindly make your way to the podium where there is a mic there for you to deliver your opening presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Director of Ceremonies. Good morning to everyone here. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, distinguished guests, it is an honor to stand before you today at this Learning and Knowledge Development Facility Forum on behalf of the Zambian Ministry of Mines and Minerals Development. I am privileged to address this year's theme, Skills for Critical Raw Materials Supply Chains, ensuring responsible and sustainable practices for the green and digital transition. This theme is not only relevant to our work, but also is critical to Zambia's vision for economic development and global sustainability goals. The critical raw materials sector is not only essential for the Zambian economy, but also plays a pivotal role on the global stage. As the world transitions to greener technologies and digital innovations, the demand for critical raw materials is skyrocketing. These materials are vital for manufacturing of renewable energy solutions, such as the solar panels and wind turbines, as well as for powering digital technologies like smartphones and electric vehicles. Therefore, enhancing our capacity to extract and process these mineral resources sustainably is crucial for both local economic growth and global sustainability efforts. At the Ministry of Mines and Minerals Development, our vision is to be a smart and value-centered ministry, reflecting our commitment to fostering transparency, accountability, integrity, patriotism, objectivity, and innovativeness in all our operations. By embodying these values, we aim to create a critical raw materials sector that operates responsibly and sustainably, leveraging on technology and innovation to enhance efficiency and transparency, and contributing positively to the national economy while serving the interests of our communities. To realize our mission of ensuring sustainable mining practices, we are undertaking several strategic initiatives that emphasize both responsible resource management and the development of critical skills. For instance, through the Mineral Production Monitoring Support Project, we enhanced our governance capabilities, enabling the ministry to effectively monitor mining activities and mineral production across the country. This initiative was critical for ensuring that our mineral resources are managed transparently and efficiently, benefiting all Zambians and reinforcing our commitment to good governance. In parallel, we also had the Zambia Mining and Environmental Remediation and Improvement Project, the ZIMREP, whose aim was to address the environmental health impacts of mining activities by strengthening capacity of national and local institutions, by enforcing pollution prevention measures and reducing environmental health risks, particularly in critical polluted areas like Kabwe and the Cobalt province. We are now taking significant steps to protect our communities while promoting sustainable mining practices. Integral to these initiatives is skills development. We recognize that a skilled workforce is essential for the successful implementation of sustainable mining practices. By investing in the development of skills specific to the mining industry, we are equipping our workforce with the necessary competences to operate responsibly. These efforts will enhance the operational capacity of Zambian companies, ensuring that they adhere to environmental regulations and industry standards. Moreover, by fostering skills in safety, health, and environmental stewardship, particularly in artisanal and small-scale mining, we can promote sustainable practices that benefit both our economy and our communities. In commitment to these objectives is further strengthened through collaboration with the various stakeholders and international partners. Together, we are developing a comprehensive approach to enhancing the capacity of the mining sector. For instance, through our preparatory assistance project for the mining sector capacity development, we are not only identifying gaps in policy and the regulatory frameworks, but also building strong technical capacities for effective auditing of the mineral value chain. This holistic approach ensures that mining practices align with our national development goals and the African mining vision. In conclusion, I want to emphasize that the challenges and opportunities before us demand our collective commitment. By investing in skills and prioritizing responsible practices, we can ensure that the critical raw material supply chains support the green and the digital transitions while empowering Zambia's communities and driving sustainable national development. I encourage all participants at this forum to engage in constructive dialogue and collaboration as we explore innovative approaches to skills development and responsible mining practices. Together, we can shape a sustainable future for Zambia, ensuring that our mineral wealth benefits all Zambians for generations to come. I thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, and certainly your opening address helping to lay the brick on the foundation of what does promise to be an afternoon or full day of constructive dialogue. Next, may we please hear from Ms. Precious Lisulo, Director for the Vocational Education Training, Ministry of Technology and Science of Zambia, for your opening remarks. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
I would like to recognize the presence of the Honorable Minister of Mines, Mr. Paul Kabuswe, who has been represented by Director Mines, Mr. Fred Banda, the UN Resident Coordinator in Zambia, Madam Beatrice Mutali, Ms. Juta Upilanen, pardon my pronunciation, from the European Commission for International Partnership, EC, the representative of the Embassy of Sweden, Mr. Jakob Grant, Director General Sida, Mr. Gerd Müller, Director General UNIDO, the UN colleagues that are present here, Mr. Juan Pablo, Head of Unit UNIDO, all TVET principals that are represented here, Director General TVETA, all speakers and presenters that are here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and not forgetting the members of the press. It is a great privilege to join you at this important forum that emphasizes a theme so critical to our shared future: skills for critical raw materials, supply chains, ensuring responsible and sustainable practices for the green and digital transition. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my ministry is entrusted with formulating and implementing policies across technology, science, communications, and skills development to drive the socio-economic process and progress. The mandate reflects a commitment to promoting high standards, enforcing regulations, and supervising technology and skills development initiatives. The country's vision is to achieve a smart and value-centered Zambia by 2030, where quality and coordinated technical, vocational, science, technology, and innovation efforts are key enablers of our economy. The vision guides us in promoting sustainable practices, particularly in sectors like critical raw materials, which are foundational to the global green and digital transition. This entails ensuring our workforce is equipped with the competences needed to support responsible and transparent practices across all stages of the supply chain. Our vision, therefore, is to create a Zambia where education, science, and technology empower citizens to participate actively in building a sustainable and technologically advanced economy. This forum's focus aligns with our objectives to ensure skills development and technological advancement serve as pillars for responsible and sustainable practices. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the transition toward green and digital technologies is reliant on a steady supply of critical raw materials. These resources are essential in the fight against climate change, in renewable energy solutions, and technologies that drive digital transformation. However, their extraction, processing, and distribution require skilled professionals who are equipped to uphold responsible practices. Zambia is endowed with natural resources, and for this reason, it is important that we build and sustain these skills across our workforce. We recognize that to participate effectively in these supply chains and to realize the benefits of our natural resources, we must prioritize skills development at every stage, from the extraction and processing of raw materials to their application in innovative solutions. Additionally, young people under the age of 35 account for 60% of Zambia's total population, making it essential to prioritize skills development. Providing training opportunities for the youth is top priority for our country. By equipping this generation with the necessary skills, we can ensure their active engagement in sectors that drive the green and digital transition. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, TVET programs are essential in building a skilled workforce. These programs not only equip individuals with technical skills, but also provide practical, hands-on experience that makes them ready to contribute to industries as soon as they complete their training. Through TVET, we are developing a workforce of professionals trained in sustainable practices, environmental awareness, and responsible resource management, which are all crucial for supporting the supply chains of critical raw materials. Graduates from these programs go on to enhance operational efficiency and productivity within companies, increasing their competitiveness and opening doors to broader markets. Through targeted skills development initiatives, we aim to, 1, enable workers and companies to adopt sustainable practices in line with global standards, and 2, to ensure that the economic opportunities presented by critical raw materials benefit not only our country, but also contribute to a fair and just transition worldwide. These goals align well with the efforts of development partners, such as UNIDO and the many others that are here, whose support is invaluable in promoting skills and sustainable development. Through this collaboration, we are expanding opportunities for Zambian citizens, particularly in vocational education and training, technology, and innovation to engage responsibly in global supply chains. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are implementing training programs that empower our people, providing access to knowledge, technology, and industry standard practices. UNIDO's role through the PPDP projects help us ensure that our TVET programs incorporate the latest industry advancements and best practices for sustainability. This partnership is instrumental in enabling Zambian companies to not only join global supply chains, but to do so in a way that enhances environmental sustainability and economic opportunity. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I want to emphasize that the challenges and opportunities before us demand our collective commitment. We can, by investing in skills and prioritizing responsible practices, we can ensure that critical raw material supply chains support the green and digital transitions without compromising the health of our communities or our environment. I look forward to engaging with all of you today during this forum as we share ideas, foster partnerships, and work together towards a future where skills, sustainability, and shared progress go hand in hand. I thank you all for listening, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Precious. And next, to hear from one side of the coin of the development partners that have been referenced, Mr. Gerd Müller, Director General for UNIDO, who has prepared these remarks.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, greetings to all from Vienna, from UNIDO, and welcome. Thank you so much to Strong, our partners in organizing this forum, the Swedish International Development Agency. The topic this year is an absolutely central one: skills for critical raw materials supply chains. This forum is taking place in the middle of the global technological and green transitions, Critical raw materials, critical minerals like such as cobalt, lithium and rare earth elements are absolutely essential for these transitions. But to guarantee a secure supply of these, we must have sustainable practices across the whole value chain. This is one of my and one of UNIDO's top priorities. This is why we have launched our Global Alliance for Responsible and Green Minerals. Ladies and gentlemen, the exploitation of people and nature in supply chains must end, especially in the mining sector. Modern, resilient and sustainable mineral supply chains need workers with the necessary skills. This depends on reskilling and equipping workforces with the knowledge and abilities of the future. However, 70% of global mining companies have difficulties finding skilled professionals. Up to 30% of capacity in the sector is currently underutilized. Through UNIDO's LKDF, we work with many different partners to equip companies and employees with the skills to create a more resilient and sustainable future of work. Drawing on the LKDF public-private development partnership model, we recognize the fundamental role of industry as part of the solution. Let us not miss this opportunity and join together to exchange knowledge and best practices and create new networks and new partnerships. With the right skills in place, we can transform critical raw materials, supply chains into engines of sustainable development for a shared green and digital future. Thank you so much for your participation.
And to add to the voice of development partners, we will now hear from Mr. Jakob, Granit, Director General for the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency.
Ladies and gentlemen, guests and distinguished participants, my name is Jakob Granit. I'm the Director General of Sida, the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency. It's my great honor to represent Sida at the opening session of this year's edition of the Learning and Knowledge Development Facility Forum. This year's theme, Skills for Critical Raw Material Supply Chains, Ensuring Responsible and Sustainable Practices for the Green and Digital Transition, is both timely and essential for global progress. And it is closely aligned with Sida's mission to improve the living conditions of people living in poverty. The cost of reaching the goals in Agenda 2030 far exceeds the resources available from the combined international development cooperation. The goals in the 2030 Agenda can only be achieved through collaboration between public and private sector. At Sida, we have adapted our work to the government's new reform agenda, Development Assistance for a New Era, Freedom, Empowerment and Sustainable Growth. It emphasizes the importance of economic growth, trade and private sector development, and seeks to find synergies between development cooperation and trade policy. One of the ways is to create pathways into the formal economy and labor market by supporting technical and vocational education and training to equip individuals with hands-on skills directly aligned with the needs of the private sector in the local economy. The private sector plays a key role in the development of local, regional and global markets, and value chains are necessary for inclusive economic growth. Sweden's new reform agenda for development cooperation emphasizes the importance of strengthening synergies with export promotion and developing new ways of working. The business community contributes knowledge, capital, and innovation skills that create business opportunities and solve development challenges, not least in collaboration with our staff in embassies in developing countries. Sweden works with private sector actors who share our core values, thereby increasing the potential for sustainable business that delivers development results and positive systemic impact. This has been clearly outlined in the internal sub-strategy for Sida's work with the private sector 24 to 26. A path to a more sustainable future begins with ensuring that companies and individuals who work in critical raw material supply chains are equipped with the skills to engage in responsible practices. Companies and their workers need the knowledge and abilities to operate in ways that respect the environment, uphold human rights, and contribute to their own professional growth. Therefore, I'm very happy about our partnership with UNIDO for Learning and Knowledge Development Facility. I've had the pleasure of visiting Ethiopia with UNIDO and Volvo and see the education system at Mutali with cutting-edge technology for truck drivers and mechanics, showing the private engagement in skill development. Learning and Development Facility 2.0 directly provides support to governments, private sector training institutions, students, as well as investors. The support builds stronger local economies, creates jobs and develops global supply chains in a way that enhances sustainability and generates economic opportunity. In summary, we must continue to invest in the development skills that will enable supply chains to function responsibly, from the extraction of materials to their final use in green and digital technologies. I invite you all to engage in thoughtful and constructive dialogues during the Learning and Knowledge Development Facility Forum. Together, we can discover new ways to foster skills and ensure that critical raw material supply chains are both responsible and sustainable. Let's take this chance to learn from one another, from lasting partnerships, and work together to make our shared vision a reality. Thank you for your attention.
And of course, those words absolutely appreciated for this forum. Last but not least, in our opening remarks session, we will now hear from Ms. Beatrice Mutali, seated here on stage, Resident Coordinator of the United Nations System in Zambia. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Program Director. As I start, I really want to recognize my fellow panelists. Precious Lisulo, who is representing the Honorable Minister for Technology and Science in Zambia. Fred Banda, who is a director in the Ministry of Mines and Mineral Development and representing his minister. And the Director General of Sida, whom we just heard of from, as well as the Director General from UNIDO, who also spoke. I also recognize all you participants, the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to rest on the protocol that has already been observed. It is indeed, as we've heard from the speakers before me, a really great, innovative, and significant partnership that we will be going through and really learning from today and tomorrow. A partnership that you've heard that really brings together the government, various government ministries, brings in the private sector, as we've heard in terms of their skills development, brings in the cooperating partners that really have brought in and continue to bring in their financial and technical support, and also brings in the United Nations. We couldn't better see a partnership that really speaks to sustainable development and what that shows. So for me, it is such an honor to be here today to discuss a matter of vital importance to our economies, our environment, and our shared future: the development of a skilled workforce capable of efficiently extracting, processing, and utilizing critical raw materials. As we face the unprecedented demands of a rapidly evolving global economy, it is crucial that we equip our current and future workforce with the skills, knowledge, and ethical grounding needed to manage these invaluable resources. Critical raw materials, as we've heard, such as lithium, cobalt, nickel, and rare earthly elements, are indispensable to modern technologies and industries, from renewable energy to digital devices. Demand for these resources continues to grow as the world shifts to a more sustainable future, requiring vast quantities of these materials for green technologies such as electric vehicles, solar panels, and wind turbines. However, to extract and utilize these resources sustainably, we need a workforce that is not only skilled, but also innovative and adaptive. As the United Nations Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, recently noted, that for developing countries, critical materials are a critical opportunity to create jobs, diversify economies, and dramatically boost revenues. But this is only possible if they are managed properly. Providing the right skills and knowledge empowers workers to engage in sustainable and ethical practices. Extraction and processing activities, if mismanaged, can lead to environmental degradation, resource depletion, and social conflict. By educating our workforce, on the other hand, in sustainable practices, we protect ecosystems, uphold ethical labor standards, and contribute to the responsible use of resources. Through targeted training programs, we can ensure that our workforce understands the environmental impacts of their activities and is equipped with tools to mitigate these effects. Distinguished participants, in our interconnected world, transitioning to green and digital economies is essential for advancing Agendas 2030 and Agenda 2063 and realizing economic, social, and cultural rights. Zambia, rich in key raw materials, holds a unique opportunity and responsibility to balance economic growth with social progress and environmental stewardship. This balance aligns with UNIDO's emphasis on establishing sustainable supply chains and the United Nations Zambia Sustainable Cooperation Framework for the period of 2023 to 2027, which represents the collective offer of the UN system to support Zambia's progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals and the Africa Union's Agenda 2063, as well as the nation's Vision 2030, the Zambia's 8th National Development Plan. Today's engagement is key to the economic development and sustainability objectives of Zambia, where mining is a key sector that contributes significantly to GDP through the extraction and export of minerals. We, however, need to remain mindful of the huge skill gaps that hampers the potential for local value addition and sustainable development. Sustainable supply chains rely heavily on developing the right skills at every stage. These skills enable us to foster economic transformation, reduce inequality, and empower marginalized communities, especially the youth, women, and other vulnerable groups. For this reason, promoting entrepreneurial skills and strengthening practical learning is a key priority in the framework of the UN's support to Zambia. Achieving these goals requires strong partnerships. Goal 17 of the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, being the goal on partnerships, underscores how essential it is for governments, international organizations, the private sector, and civil society to work together. Through public-private development partnership projects, UNIDO has demonstrated how industry partnerships can successfully foster skills development tailored to market demands, creating a skilled workforce that is well prepared for sustainable industries. This experience has been instrumental in advancing inclusive growth in the green and digital sectors. The United Nations in Zambia is committed in this collaborative approach. By fostering cross-border cooperation, Zambia can address local and regional needs, supporting peace and stability in the Southern Africa region while accelerating progress towards the SDGs. As I close, let me note that this forum is an invaluable space to build partnerships, exchange knowledge, and develop actionable insights that will help us navigate the challenges and opportunities of critical raw materials responsibly. Let us take this moment to learn from one another, to reinforce our shared commitment to the SDGs, and to ensure that as we build our green and digital future, we do so inclusively, sustainably, collaboratively, and always using a human rights lens. Let us remember that the future of critical raw materials is not just about resources themselves, but about how we manage them. With a skilled and ethical workforce, we can ensure that these resources are utilized wisely, sustainably, and to the benefit of all. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank you all for delivering the opening remarks. I'd like to also invite you to rejoin your colleagues in the audience. Thank you so much.